So welcome. It's great to see everyone here. We have a bunch of guests and some presentations. It's going to be a great meeting. Let's start with Steve Moberly and the pledge and reflection.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests, and Dean Kestner. We're glad you're all joining us today. Today is Constitution Day. It's an American observance of September the 17th, which is the date in 1787 that the new U.S. Constitution was signed by the drafters at the Pennsylvania State House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That State House is now known as Independence Hall. 55 men were the delegates. They started their work on May 25th, 1787, and they finished on September 17th. The summers in Philadelphia were without air conditioning and without deodorant. So you can imagine the 55 men were glad to get out of there at the end of that period of time. The original purpose of the convening of the Constitutional Convention was to redraft the Articles of Confederation under which the federal government had been operating since its inception. However, they were weak, and so the drafters decided to write a substitute, a constitution that was more effective and more powerful. Some of the drafters were well-known names in American history: John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, John Jay, Benjamin Franklin, and Alexander Hamilton, who later made it big on Broadway. I thought about speaking all 4,583 words today. But in deference to our very excellent program we're going to have from Dean Kestner, I'm just going to read to you the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Certainly can't beat that opening. But we're going to have a presentation now. Ann Connors is going to come up. Presentation to Area 10 Council on Aging.
Where's Jean? Okay. As you remember, we gave a grant of $3,000 to Wonder Lab, and it was matched by $3,000 from the district. We also were fortunate because of the great turnout of last year's honor for what's it called? The toast. That was just a test. The toast, that we had enough funds to give a $4,500 grant to Area 10 Agency on Aging. They were one of the 15. They were one of the 15 applicants that applied for our grant. So, Jean Emery, Joy Harder are on the board.
So is Susie Graham.
And Susie Graham. And so we have a check for
And
Kate.
Kate is
Oh, yeah. Wow, a lot of Rotarians are a member.
Yes.
So here's a presentation of $4,500 to help with their Safe at Home program that you're going to mention it. Yeah. Thank you.
I tried it.
I won't be long. I just want to show you that on your tables, or most of your tables, I put a piece of paper or multiple pieces of paper with Safe at Home and Area 10's logo at the top, with information if you or anyone you know would be interested in volunteering for the Safe at Home event day. It's a half-day, one-day blitz to do safety home improvements in older adults' homes in both Monroe and Owen counties. And currently, that's a list of the different, a summary of the projects that we have. So please reach out, let me know. Happy to engage in volunteers. It wouldn't happen without you, and thank you for the contribution.
I'd like to thank today's greeter, Joe King, our photographer, Charlie Osborne, and Community Access Television Services, and our roundabout reporter, Bill Oates. I also want to thank and acknowledge our gracious hosts at St. Mark's United Methodist Church, and Natalie Blaze for coordinating our meal, and our club. Thank you. And now Lynn Schwartzberg will introduce our guests.
Welcome, all guests. I'm going to read your name, and we'd like for you to please stand up and be recognized. Ronald L. Bennett is a guest of Julia Mert. Nancy Metz is a guest of Dick McCaig. Bill Schwab is a guest of Aaron Davis. Mary Beth McCaig is also a guest of Dick McCaig. Colleen Curry is a guest of Lauren Snyder. Heather Bozarth is a guest of Jean Emery. And Stacy Zeich is a guest of Liz Irwin. We're so glad you all joined us today. If you have any questions about Rotary or are interested in our club, please ask someone at your table. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Over to our Rotary family, this week's birthdays: Tim Thrasher on September 19th, Brian Price, September 20th, and Ron Jensen on September 21st. No membership anniversaries this time around. But now, we're going to have a new member induction. Trent Deckard, please come up.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would ask to come forward Chris Michael Morrison and his sponsor, Jim Bright, for our induction ceremony. And as they do, let me say that for me, this is a gift to our club, but it's also a gift for all of us on the membership committee, and we want to thank you for this moment. I'm going to start off by reading a biography about this new membership, including it's an organizational membership, so that's a biography 2-for-1. We meet our new member, and we also meet our new organization, and then we'll do the ceremony. So Wheeler Mission in Bloomington, of which Chris Michael is a leader. Founded in 1893, Wheeler Mission is a holistic social service organization that provides programs and services for men, women, and children experiencing homelessness and poverty. Its dynamic and innovative programming addresses the root of each crisis and addiction, effectively advancing guests towards sobriety, stability, and self-sufficiency. A fixture in Central and South Central Indiana, Wheeler is the largest and most diverse agency of its kind in the state and operates 9 facilities throughout both Indianapolis and Bloomington. Acquiring the former Backstreet Mission in late 2015, Wheeler Mission operates 3 Bloomington divisions, which are as follows: the Hunt Training Center, located in northern Monroe County, the Center for Men, and the Center for Women and Children, of which both of Wheeler's Bloomington homeless shelters are located off of West 3rd Street. For the Bloomington community, Wheeler provides vital services such as addiction recovery, counseling, job, and life skills training, adult education, mentorship, aftercare, and much more. In 2018 alone, Wheeler served nearly 85,000 meals, provided over 40,000 nights of lodging to more than 1,000 different individuals, of which nearly 500 men, women, and children are from this county. Chris Michael was born and raised in southwestern Indiana, specifically Princeton. Chris Michael attended IU and earned a Bachelor of Science degree from the School of Public and Environmental Affairs, majoring in public management. Subsequently, Chris Michael completed his Master of Public Affairs degree from SPIA with a concentration of nonprofit management. He's been nearly 15 years, has 15 years of direct experience advocating on behalf of those experiencing homelessness, raising funds and awareness for Wheeler Mission Indianapolis, Evansville Rescue Mission, and now Wheeler in Bloomington. As Director of Advancement, his passion is to ensure our community's homeless are lovingly cared for with grace and dignity in their time of need, and for them to ultimately experience life change. A diehard IU basketball fan with a lifelong ambition to visit every presidential museum and to read every presidential biography. Wow. He lives with his wife Amanda and 2 daughters, Jacqueline, who just turned 6, and Liberty, who's 2 in northern Monroe County. Now for our ceremony. Chris Michael, on behalf of the board and membership of the Bloomington Rotary Club, it is a great pleasure to welcome you and Wheeler Missions as the newest member of our club. We look forward to the fellowship that you will share, as well as your participation in many club projects that make our community, country, and world a better place. Though Rotary is not a political organization, Rotarians are vitally concerned with good citizenship and the election of strong leaders to public office. While Rotary is not a religious organization, it is built on those eternal principles that have served as a moral compass for people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest ethical and moral standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and peace can be achieved when people unite under the Rotary motto of service above self. Rotary activities exemplify the charity and sacrifice that one would expect from people who believe they have a responsibility to help others. Chris Michael, you've been chosen for membership in the Bloomington Rotary Club because your fellow members believe you to be a leader in our community and because you possess the qualities to champion the message and principles of Rotary. You are a representative of your vocation within our club and our community. You now become an ambassador of Rotary, carrying the ideals of service to all within your sphere of influence. Our community will know and judge Rotary by your character and service. We will also look to you for inspiration as we strive to become better Rotarians. I now ask your sponsor, Jim Bright, to vest you with the distinguishing badge of a Rotarian, your Rotary pin. This is where we find out that we do not have a ring for the bride. Hold on. So we've got one. Jim and I have done that at many weddings. Chris Michael, on a very serious note, we ask that you wear your Rotary pin with pride, not only to all Rotary functions, but in your many endeavors as a symbol of your commitment to Rotary ideals and our recognition of your contribution towards a better world. Fellow Rotarians, please rise and welcome our newest Rotarian, Chris Michael Morrison.
Well done, little creativity. I do want to mention that we're going to have our club's board meeting on September 19th, Thursday, and that there are, and I'd like you to look at the roundabout this week for all the announcements that I'm not going to be able to have the time to make now, including a sign up for volunteering for Hoosiers Outrun Cancer. Now, Joy, Happy Dollars. Who has something to be happy about? And the money all goes to Teachers Warehouse.
I get $2 because that represents Saturday 12-hour drive to Dallas, yesterday 12-hour drive home to visit my nephew and my great niece and great nephew, and today is Katie's 7th birthday.
Sure. Liz.
My guess that she's going to be a future Rotarian very soon, and she's been calling you when it's on American. Thank you, Heather.
I'm happy to celebrate a couple of birthdays this weekend. My daughter turned 50. I can't believe I'm that old. And a grandson just turned 14, and I heard from his mother while he was officiating on the sidelines, a soccer team. That's a nice job. And he is happy because he is finally being allowed to have a smartphone. The only person his age who didn't have it.
And I have $2 happy for a couple of wonderful people. Joy Harder and Charlotte Zitlow. Thank you.
I have a few cups have won 5 in a row, so we're still in it. Number 2, I'm so glad to see Charlotte here today. And number 3, next week is the Bloomington Chamber Singer's 50th birthday. It is on Thursday night. If you have any interest, I would probably do a Lincoln roundabout. I'll get tickets. I'd love to see some of you there. It's not every arts organization in this community that makes it to 50.
We got one more.
I'm happy because tonight at 7 p.m. at the John Muller Arts Center, White Bear Cottage, Oregon, is a candidates forum to discuss support for the arts. Yes, I'm the arts guy. One of those people, in case you did not know, is Ron Smith, who is Lynn Schwartzberg's husband. He is running for a city council member, District 3. Also works for Area 10, which has nothing to do with them getting the grant. Anyway, I'm happy to come out tonight to support the arts, 7 p.m.
And then one more.
So next Wednesday, 5:30, dedication for your Centennial Celebration Playground, which will be open to children today for the first time. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
And now, Jim Shea.
Hello, Rotarians. I am delighted to welcome Dean Heidi Kesner to our meeting today. And I think many of you know I retired from IU 3 weeks ago, and I found this morning it was just a little too soon for me to put on a tie, so apologies, Dean Kesner. Heidi has her bachelor's degree from Southern Methodist. She has MBA and PhD from IU. Her specializations are in corporate boards of directors, chief executive succession, corporate governance, mergers, and acquisitions. After completing her PhD, she went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for 12 years. And by the way, Chapel Hill's always reminded me a little bit of Bloomington when I go there. And I've noticed over the years that IU likes to bring back its best. And it brought back Heidi to Bloomington as a professor of management. She has chaired the full-time MBA for 3 years and the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship for 3 years. She became Dean of the Kelly School in 2013, and I work directly for 2 deans at IU, and I know they're really challenging jobs, 24/7 jobs, and I'm amazed it's been 6 years, and she still looks so darn good. Rankings are important to deans and to schools. There are a lot listed on the Kelly website, but 2 that got my attention were the ranked #1 best online MBA by U.S. News and World Report, and was the undergraduate program was ranked #1 in public universities by Bloomberg and #4 overall. So those are really good rankings. And I know that rankings matter at IU, and I know we're a Research One university and research matters. But as a person who's put 2 kids through college, I'm really impressed with teaching awards. And IDE has won a total of 20 teaching awards at IU, including 3 of the very prestigious Trustee Teaching Awards. Now, we have a lot of people in this room who have led or are leading organizations, and we all know that leadership matters. And IU is very fortunate to have Heidi Kesner leading the Kelley School of Business. So let's give a warm welcome.
So thank you, one and all. I see so many friendly faces here. It is wonderful to see colleagues and to see people that I've run into throughout Bloomington, and I really appreciate this invitation. It's quite wonderful. I know it wasn't easy to schedule. My travel schedule is intense, and we had to go back and forth quite a few times, and so having this work out for the fall really is, for me, a great honor, so I want you to know that. We do have to keep this a secret that I'm here, and the reason is my brother-in-law was district governor in the Dallas area. And ever since I've been dean, he's been begging me to please come down to Dallas and speak to the Rotary groups. And I have, as of yet, not done it. So this is our secret, because he would be mad at me if he knew I came here before. So anyway, it really is quite a pleasure to be here. You know, I'm struck, it's actually, I'm just starting my 8th year as dean, because I was also interim dean for 1 year, in addition to the 6 years. 2 years ago, I was asked to introduce myself to a very large group of IU human resource managers from all over, all of the regional campuses. Very large auditorium over in the convention. We had the whole room, and it was filled. And they asked me to introduce myself and give a little bit of background. And so on the big screen behind me, I said, well, I've officially been dean for 5 years, and there was a giant number 5 on the screen. And I said, but actually, I was also interim dean for 1 year, so I had the 5, and then I put +1. And I said, but every year in the dean's office is like a dog year, so I've been dean for 42 years, is the way I see it. And it still feels that way sometimes going into my 8th year. The good news about the Kelley School is that in the same year that Indiana University is celebrating its 200th birthday, its bicentennial, the Kelley School, although not always named the Kelley School, is celebrating our 100th birthday this year. It's a very special occasion for us. So we have 100 years to celebrate. We're having 100 events, not that I'm going to be available for each and every one of them, but there's going to be a lot going on around Bloomington and certainly within the school and on the campus that really speaks to all that we have to celebrate. There's a reason I use the word momentum up here, and I want to highlight this. The motto or the brand message for Kelley is go from moment to momentum. And there's a wonderful story about how this was created, this motto. But I want you to know that that is something we live. It's something we practice. It's something we believe in with all of our conviction. And so I want to take a moment just to explain it. So when I was a candidate for the dean, I had a list of some major things that I wanted to accomplish. On that list was the importance of building a very diverse environment, both student environment and faculty environment, the importance of reaching out for partnerships. Those would be domestic partnerships as well as international partnerships with schools and organizations. But the top of my list was building brand awareness for the Kelley School of Business. You see, a study had been done, a marketing study that I did not commission. It was a very expensive study, and I'm cheap, so I wouldn't have commissioned it, but someone else was smart enough to do that. And the study came back, and as an illustration, it was a phone survey, and in the early stages of the phone survey, The person did not say that I'm calling from the Kelly School, and they merely collected information about recognized programs. And they asked the respondent to identify 6 top programs. And in all of those hundreds of phone calls, the Kelly School was named one time. And I always teased that that person probably meant to say the Kellogg School, but said Kelly by accident. And it was a blow to my heart because I love this school. I mean, I'm a graduate of this school, and so for me, it was very difficult to hear that news. So we went to, I indicated that this would be a top priority for me. We went to one of our alums who happened to be running marketing for Procter & Gamble, their international marketing. He's a Kelly alum. And we said, could you help us? And he gave us, for free, pro bono, the work of an award-winning advertising and branding agency to work with for almost a year. And they came up with an analysis and some recommendations for how we could build the visibility of the school. And I remember the first time they presented to us. There was a snowstorm, and we couldn't get to them in New York, and they couldn't get to us in Indiana. And so we had a phone call. And they announced in the phone call the brand message. And there was total and complete silence on the phone. It was not this message. It was a different one. And no one said a word. And being the leader in this case, I decided to stay silent, hoping that someone would say something. And no one said a word, and it got very awkward. And I said, okay, well, I'll speak up. I don't think that brand message is us. I just don't think it reflects who we are. Rather than this advertising and branding company saying, you'll take what we give you because it's free, or saying, well, we'll tweak it, but take it. They said, okay, if that's not you, we'll start over. And they started over from scratch. And the next time they presented, I was able to reach New York for the meeting. And out comes the message, go from moment to momentum. And I said, that's it. That's us. And they said, wait a minute, you haven't heard the other 2 options. I said, I don't need to hear the other 2, that one's it. And they said, no, you have to hear the other 2. And I said, all right, tell me the other 2. And they did. And I said, nope, that first one's it. And here's why. We believe that every moment counts. Every moment that we interact with our students, it counts. Every moment we train our students to be respectful of those they interact with, to be appreciative of what they have, to give their full measure, to give their full energy to the things that, whether in class or outside of class, that they're asked to do. Every moment and every impression from that moment counts. And if you treat every moment with respect and dignity, then it will lead to momentum in your career and ultimately in your life's course. And so we try and teach our students how to appreciate and respect those moments in order to drive momentum in their careers. So you can see why when they said this to me, go from moment to momentum, it was instantaneous that I recognize this as our learning and our pedagogical mission. And we believe this wholeheartedly. So I wanted to draw your attention, and that's why we talk about 100 years of momentum. That word has very special meaning for us. We're a big school today. We're across 2 different campuses, Bloomington and Indianapolis, and on the Bloomington campus alone, we're 3 buildings. If you haven't driven by our complex, please do. We've got the newly renovated Hodge Hall, and it's been expanded and extended toward 10th Street. We've got the Godfrey Center, which is the graduate side of the building, and we have the newest of our buildings, the Conrad Prebys Center for Career Services. That building alone has 73 interview rooms. Imagine 73, that's how big we are today. We are, across our 2 campuses, more than 12,000 Kelly students. We are more than 350 faculty. And we are more, as you will see, than 32 different degree programs. We're not just an undergraduate program or just an MBA program. We're 32 degree programs, and we're very proud of all of it. Of course, we have a long history to be proud of, and you'll see Herman Wells on this picture because Herman Wells was a dean of the Kelly School many, many years ago. When I was a candidate for the Kelly School, I took out the Herman Wells book, Being Lucky, and I read it. And I read the chapter when he was dean, and he was talking about the complexity of running the school because it had 10 faculty members. And I thought to myself, oh, how I wish I were back in those days. but a beloved dean of the school before he went on, of course, to president and chancellor of the university. And then we can also cite in our history the naming of the school for Ed Kelly and many other momentous occasions. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, we are large. We are more than 30 different degree programs. The ones that are coming up in green are newly added since I've been dean. And so you can tell we've been doing a lot. We're engaged in a lot of activities. This makes us a complex organization to run. Perhaps our pride and joy, of course, is our undergraduate program, and what I want you to see is not only how much it's grown, but the quality of it. The average GPA of the incoming students is 3.94. Isn't that amazing? The average SAT of our incoming students is nearly 1440 rather, nearly 1440. It's absolutely amazing. 1434 this year was 1 point down, I think, from last year, so we're doing extremely well. It is with all humility that I tell you, I am the dean of the Kelley School of Business, and I would not get into the Kelley School of Business today. That's how good it is. So we're very proud of the growth in our program without sacrificing quality. In fact, the quality has only continued to increase year over year. One of our other prides and joy is our online program, which is ranked #1 in the US. We're very proud of that. This is an MBA program taught in a hybrid format, but fundamentally and predominantly online. We are, as I said, ranked #1 in the US. We were the first business school to enter the online space in 1999. We're extremely proud of that early entry, and you can see the growth rates that we've experienced. We continue to set records each and every year since 2017, and we're very proud of that. We have a lot to be proud of in the rankings. A few of them were cited before, and I'm not going to go through each one of these. The latest U.S. News and World Report just came out, and we're ranked #10 in the United States. When you consider there are well over 15,000 undergraduate programs, but certainly accredited top business programs, probably 1,500 to 2,000. Being ranked in the top 10 is really an honor and a privilege. The recruiters that come to our doors come from all over. Last year, more than 1,200 companies hired our students. Think about that for a moment. More than 1,200 companies. And these companies are from the biggest names out there. I couldn't put all 1,200 on this chart. You wouldn't be able to read it anymore, so I tried to pick off some of the logos that you would recognize. We're very, very proud of the companies that we partner with in terms of our career services. But not every Kelley student goes on to work for a corporation. There are many, many Kelley students that end up running their own businesses. These are just a few of the examples. I want to talk briefly about a couple of these because we're proud of these students. The gentleman in the upper left, his name is Justin Delaney. Justin Delaney is actually coming back next semester to teach a class with me. We're going to jointly teach the class. While he was a student in our MBA program, he created a company that would basically rent tuxedos online. What he determined was one of the greatest pain points for young men is renting tuxedos for weddings or other occasions. It's a pain. And so what he created was an online service for tuxedo rental that grew steadily, did very, very well. That was started in the workout rooms, or breakout rooms, I should say, in our school. Justin went on to create and hire employees for this organization, create products for this organization, extend his markets, and eventually Men's Warehouse came to him just a couple years ago and offered him $25 million when he sold out and is now on his next venture. And he's going to be coming back and teaching a course with me about starting companies. Next to Justin's picture up there are two women who graduated last year from our MBA program. And one of the women who came from Africa had a family recipe for shea butter, which is very good for the skin. And she ended up creating a business around this and winning an award. And it's really lovely to see when students can become entrepreneurs because of what they learn in our program and because of the friendships that they form. The student next to her was just another Kelly student who worked on the business with her. There are many other examples, all on this page and many more pages of students who have chosen the entrepreneurial path and are now contributing in very important ways to business. We have something else to be very, very proud of at Kelly, and that's the momentum for our communities. Whether it is what the IBRC, the Indiana Business Research Center, does for the state of Indiana, whether it's what the Johnson Center does for entrepreneurs, the Center for the Business of Life Sciences, which works on helping those who are in the life sciences industry, or the social impact that our students engage in. Many are involved in a program called Kesey Kelly Institute for Social Impact, where they do good deeds and work on programs, volunteer programs all over the state and all over the nation. Or our civic leadership development, where students take an alternative to spring break and going down and drinking on the coast of Florida, and instead go and do good deeds and good works for various volunteer organizations. Or even the Habitat for Humanity house that our students build in a 10-day period. We're now on our 10th year, our 10th home, donating back to a needy family here in the Bloomington community. Or the Trockman Microfinance, where we set up microloans for small, very tiny businesses, whether in India or elsewhere, to help women and young individuals start businesses. All of these are examples of how the Kelly students contribute hundreds, really thousands of hours back to this community and to other communities in order to help. And I think this is, of all the things, the one I'm most proud of is that we are giving back time and time again. Of course, we're a global school, and there are many activities that we engage in globally, including taking our students on their first global trips as sophomores. Last year, 19 different countries were visited. The students could go for a 10-day period, not just study the country in advance, but go and study the country live in that location. And we have many other ways that we're reaching out globally to other parts of the world. And so this is just an illustration, but rather than show you this, let me show you a map of where Kelly is all over the world. There are very few places where the Kelly School isn't operating globally. And we're very proud of the reach that we have and all that we do in those locations. Now, every 5 years, the Kelly School has to go through what's called an accreditation process. We're an accredited business school. What it means is that deans from other top business schools come here and evaluate us, soup to nuts, from the top to the bottom, every single group. They interview tons of people. They stay here for multiple days. And they assess whether we are, in fact, a school that deserves accreditation. And when they come, you have to answer one fundamental but very difficult question during the visit. And the fundamental question that you must always answer is, what distinguishes your school? What differentiates your school? What makes your school special or unique? That's a hard question to answer. A lot of schools copy each other in what they do. They really do. I mean, if some school does it, then others are very quick to emulate that. So it's a hard question to answer. Imagine I'm sitting across from business school deans, other deans of great schools. If I say to them, oh, well, we have the best faculty, the best research faculty in the US, they're going to look at me and say, oh, no, wait a minute, our faculty is better than your faculty. If I say, oh, we have the best students, the very best students, these other top deans are going to look at me and say, oh, no, wait a minute, we have top students too. If I say we have the best curriculum, they'll say, our curriculum looks like your curriculum. Answering that question's tough when you're sitting across from people who have as much pride in their school as I have in my school. So we had to sit and think what really does distinguish Kelly. And what we were able to present, and it is factual, we were able to present the data making this factual, is that the Kelly School is a leader, early mover, or first mover in just about every initiative that has hit business education in the last 50 years. We've been instrumental in starting those initiatives. We were the first. And I just want to give you a few illustrations of this because we're so proud of it. Let me give you one that's particularly memorable. We started in the 1960s a course called Computers in Business, K201. Every student going through must still take K201. It's changed a lot. Do you remember what computers were like in the 1960s? They were giant mainframes. I can hold in the palm of my hand on my phone today more power than in those mainframes then. But nevertheless, in the 1960s, the school recognized the importance of computers and required this course of every single student, and it still exists today in a much more advanced, much more complex form. One of my colleagues, some of you will know him, Ash Soni. Ash was one of the teachers who taught in K201 many, many years ago. And he took great pride having taught this course many, many times. Well, quite a while ago, someone walked up to Ash at the start of the class and said to him, "Professor Soni, my mom had you in class," which is really, really funny. So Dean Soni walked up to me not too long ago, and he said, one day someone's going to walk up to me and say, "Professor Soni, my grandma had you in class." And he said, "Heidi, the day that happens, I'm turning in my keys. That's it, I'm done." So we've been teasing him that we're going to plant a student to go do that just as a joke. I was laughing at Ash over this. I thought it was tremendously funny that he had this experience until 2 years ago. I was at an incoming MBA event, and we were at the President's Hall, and we were all having drinks and talking. And sure enough, an incoming brand new MBA stared across at me and he said, "I want you to know my dad had you as an MBA student." And it was like a knife in my heart. It was very painful to hear that because he was an MBA student, for goodness sakes. So anyway, another illustration of where we were first. We were a founding member of the MBA Consortium Project. This was a project to provide full-ride scholarships for underrepresented minority students, beginning with African American students, so that they could be leaders in the business world, earning an MBA degree. There were only 3 schools that started that. There was Washington University in St. Louis, the University of Wisconsin, and Indiana University is Kelly School. We're very proud of that. We were a founder in the Washington Campus Program. We were a founder in the Integrated Core, used to be called A-Core and B-Core, now called I-Core. We were a founder in MBA academies and undergraduate workshops, and I could go on and on. A founder teaching ethics within simulation that no other school has, customized simulation. We're very proud of the Kelly School for all of its innovation, and yes, other schools have copied us since. But it is very refreshing to know that we are willing to take a lead and to advance business education. And I'm proud of that as a Kelly School faculty member. So where are we today? What are our current initiatives? Who will be following us in the future? Well, this is what they'll be following us for. First of all, we've begun a very in-depth program on mental wellness, helping our students ensure that they are not just physically sound, but mentally sound as well. So if we can help them manage stress, learn how to cope with stress, then we know we will be doing something very beneficial for them. I was a little bit nervous about this at first until a recruiter came up to me and he said, "If you can get this right, then we will recruit double from the Kelly School of Business." And I looked at him and he said, "Let me tell you why. First of all, I will know that I'm hiring people who can cope with stress, who can enter a dynamic and complex workforce. So I'll know that they have been trained that way. And second, I know that I will be hiring people who can help us put programs in our companies that will help students who are challenged with mental wellness." And so I'm very, very proud of this initiative that we've started. We're now in our 4th year of working on this, and we'll continue to invest in this. We invest in cutting-edge technology. We're investing in ways to connect with our parents and all types of parent engagement. As I mentioned, we're investing in international activities and certainly investing in career services. There is so much to be proud of. So I say this all to you, recognizing that in the year that Indiana University celebrates its 200th birthday, and the Kelly School celebrates its 100th birthday, Bloomington, Indiana University, and certainly the school have so much to be proud of. We're a school that continues to strive to do even more, to do things even better, but we know that we have the formula that delivers a great product for our students and for the state. So I thank you for inviting me to share this with you. Thank you so much.
We have time for a couple of questions.
Absolutely. Happy to take questions. Yes? I'm so glad you asked. That's a perfect question. Well, we do it in several ways. And I'll talk about how we do it with the college at Indiana University in just one second, but let me tell you that we have reached out to liberal arts schools like DePauw, and we have special programs for their students. Lily gave a grant to DePauw to run an intensive program on entrepreneurship. And so every winter we bring students here from DePauw to learn about entrepreneurship, to compete in a business plan competition. And we encourage them to then go on with business studies as well to add or supplement to their liberal arts education. But we also have a very special program called Plus Kelly. And what it can do is take students from the sciences or from liberal arts areas, and after their 4-year degree, they can stay for a 1-year Master of Science in a deep area of business. It could be finance or marketing or strategy or business analytics or any of our 7 areas. So we're very proud of that program. Last year, the students who, and actually for every year since we've had it, the students who are part of our Plus Kelly program end up after that program 100% placed, 100%, which is very strong indication of how good the program is and how much it's respected. There's one more program, it's called LAMP, Liberal Arts Management Program. Very proud of this as well. The Kelly School works with the College of Arts and Sciences to give the students this wonderful combination during their 4 years of liberal arts combined with business education. So we've got lots of ways that we work on that.
Heidi, are you able to stay for a few minutes
Sure.
after the program?
Sure.
After we close? Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank
much. And speaking of 200 years, we've got our university historian, Jim Capshaw, right over here, who's gearing up for an interesting year. Next week, September 24th, we'll be in the IMU in the Georgian room to hear from J.R. Holmes, head basketball coach and athletic director at Bloomington South High School. And let's see, well, remember, IMU, Georgian room. Final quote, thought of the week. If you want to make peace, don't talk to your friends. You talk to your enemies. From Moshe Dayan. So please stand and recite the 4-way test with me. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? Fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. And fifth, is it fun? Thank you.